O Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O Namo Narayanaya. Kujelo Bhakhyanam. Sudama was known as Kuchela. Kuchela means poorly clad. He was the childhood friend of Sri Krishna, but had not seen him since the days at Gurukulam in Sandipani's ashram. Sudama's wife Sushila had heard of Krishna being in Dwaraka. Due to abject poverty and with children to be fed and clothed, she prevailed upon Sudama to meet Sri Krishna, who is generous. A hesitant husband was pressurized, and finally Sudama set off to Dwaraka with 4 handfuls of beaten rice, which was actually borrowed by his wife from neighbors, tied to a rag and kept in his loincloth. Sudama just wanted to meet and pay respects to his childhood friend, whom he always mentally worshipped as God, and so did not in fact want to mention anything about what his wife had wished him to tell Krishna. When he reached Sri Krishna's palace, Sri Krishna was elated to see his old friend, his childhood friend, and rushed to welcome him with due honors, including washing off the childhood friend Brahmana's feet and sprinkling that water on his and Rukmani's head. Sri Krishna always held Brahmanas in high esteem for their simplicity and pious attitude. The all-knowing Sri Krishna said to Sudama, "Oh friend, do you not recollect those days when we had all sorts of adventures? By the way, what present have you brought for your old friend? Lot of things offered without devotion do not bring any joy to me. Whosoever offers to me with bhakti, even a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or even water, I heartily enjoyed that offering of love with a pure mind." This was the context in which Sri Krishna had said, "Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachari tad aham bhaktubhakridam asnami prayatatmanaha." Same words were uttered by Sri Krishna in his discourse to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita during the Kurukshetra war. The all-knowing Sri Krishna knew and snatched the beaten rice tied in the rack and kept hidden by Sudama, who was feeling very shy. Ready to bestow blessings on noble souls, Sri Krishna put 1 handful of the beaten rice in his mouth. But Rukmani stopped him from having the second handful, as she knew full well the implications thereof. That is, with 1 handful Sri Krishna had bestowed abundant wealth and fortune, but with 1 more handful of it, he himself would be lost to her. Sudama did not utter 1 word, despite prompting by Sri Krishna on the purpose of his visit. He was only immersed in the happy feeling on the meeting with Sri Krishna, who made him relax on his bed. Sri Krishna kneaded his tired legs, while Rukmani goddess Lakshmi was fanning the chauris to relieve him of the tiredness after his long trek to Sri Krishna's palace. What is more, Sri Krishna, who he considered as Bhagavan, went out of the palace not only to welcome him first, but also to see him off with a fond embrace. Who else would have been so blessed to keep one's head on God's bosom, where Sri Lakshmi is ever present? Sudama satisfied himself with the thought that Sri Krishna, the Lord, had not offered him any material gift only because God wanted him not to swerve from his steadfast devotion that might otherwise be compromised if he was bestowed with wealth. Sudama slowly made his way back towards his impoverished home. But he got lost on reaching there when he saw many a mansion with gardens and pools at the palace where his humble abode once stood. Soon, richly dressed men and women from the neighborhood, all of whom now had palaces or palace-like mansions, were grateful to Sudama for bringing such fortune to not only himself but also to the entire neighborhood, turned up singing and beating drums to welcome Sudama. They all got the gift of God as they had happily given the beaten rice to Sushila. Sudama's wife and children were in the best attire, and his wife was wearing costly jewelry, and they all rushed to give him a warm welcome for the success of his mission. Sudama was escorted inside his palatial mansion and could only but mentally prostrate before Sri Krishna and chant hymns in his praise for bestowing such unsolicited richness. And he never allowed his steadfast devotion to be diminished in any manner, and he duly attained the abode of the Lord. God bestows happiness on those who do not hunger after wealth or power, but remember and utter his name without any motive in a spirit of true devotion or bhakti. That is the underlying principle in this narration. Now, Srimad Bhagavata, Skanda 8, chapter 22, Sriman Narayana in Vamana Avatar said to Bali that he first brings those with ego and pride to realize their folly by depriving them of their fortune and power. And after they realize and become free from ego and pride and become devoted to God, they are blessed to get back their lost status. Again, what Sri Krishna says in Skanda 88 and Skanda 10, chapter 88, Bhagavan says, him on whom I shower my grace, I gradually deprive of wealth because their fortune has blinded them to swerve from the path of devotion to me. And such people are ignored soon by everyone. When they turn to make friends with my devotees and shed pride and ego, their lost wealth gets restored back to them. This is an important lesson for all, because human nature is such that when they are enjoying good fortune, wealth, power, they do not bother to think of God. They do not have true bhakti in their minds, but they think of God only when they are facing difficult situations or problems in life or misery or loss of wealth. In fact, while Krishna was leaving for Dwaraka, Kundi had told him that, "O Krishna, you have saved Pandavas and Draupadi from very difficult situation. You saved the life of Uttara's child while in the womb against Ashwatthama's astra. In all those instances, you came to the devotee's help. So, it is better that we continue to have some problem or the other in life, so that we shall ever think of you with true bhakti in our minds, with you only as our succor at all times. Loka samastha സുഖിനോ ഭവന്തു. ശ്രീകൃഷ്ണ ഗോവിന്ദ ഹരേ മുരാരേ, ശ്രീനാഥ നാരായണ വാസുദേവ.